This airport is about people who are passionately in love with flying. They live and breathe flying. And specifically old airplanes. There's something about the old airplanes that speaks to them.
Just being around the airplanes, doing whatever's necessary on them, gives me great pleasure.
When you're flying, it's you alone up there with your life in your own hands.
I don't think so. It never ends the pleasure. You always look forward to another flight.
It's not just the airplanes, it's what the airplanes can do. I've tried all kinds of things. I have all kinds of passions. There's all kinds of things I find fascinating. I'm in love with astronomy, and there's all kinds of things I find really, really interesting. But there's something about airplanes, because airplanes can reach people and seem to have an ability to touch that part of a person, that lost sense of wonder. I find old airplanes do that better than anything else I've ever seen.
I don't know how it's going to change someone's life. We've flown coast to coast, as you know, and you drop in on people's lives and they change and you change and you give them the gift that you can give them, which is taking them up in the airplane and seeing the world from a different point of view.
The passenger will get in, they're going to have their own experience. I trust them. They're going to put it together themselves. You get them up there, and it's open cockpit, and they're up there, and they're in the air, and they got the wings around them, and they can hear the whistling of the wind and the wires. They'll get it. They'll figure it out all by themselves. I don't have to say a thing.
I've always loved airplanes all my life. I never got married. My mother said I was always married to my airplanes, and that's our whole life. I live to build and fly as many airplanes that I possibly can in my lifetime, and it's getting up there now.
Restore antique airplanes is what I do here, and when I'm not doing that, I cook for the outings that we have here at the airport. I used to own a little restaurant up the top of the hill there, and I sold that in '97 and came back down here to do nothing but restore antique airplanes and fly them. That's all I want to do. I'm retired. I got nothing else to do.
And my earliest memory is being lifted into the seat of a Spitfire, and I can just be lowered into this cavern with all of these gauges, and that same thing, a smell, this incredible aroma. And so from my earliest memory, spit airplanes, and it's a huge part of my life. There hasn't been one that's built as well since. If there was, I'd fly it. If I could find a modern airplane that did what these things would do, I'd get in it, I'd fly it. And each one of these airplanes here will give the passenger a different experience. The Canadian Moth, with this canopy, it's a bit more closed in, it's a bit more protected. The British Moth, you're a bit more out in the open, but of course the little doors come up a little bit higher, so you feel a bit more closed in. The Jackaroo, with its strange looks, so you're sitting in a kind of a cabin with these funny little glass windows. And the E2, I mean, you're just out there in the elements. So each one of them does something a little bit different. Yep. The Tiger Boys, the Tiger Boy and Girl, Tiger Boys and Girl, which is basically just a group of people who passionately love flying, and all we do is, some of us are it's a totally informal organization. We're just the Tiger Boys and Girl because there's a whole pile of us and we all get together. Some restore, that's all they want to do. Some rebuild, some hunt, some like doing painting, some like doing finishing work, metal work, fabric work, and some are pilots. And all of us together encompass what is the Tiger Boys and Girl. And what we do is we get these old airplanes and we get people back up in the air. Yeah, it is. It's a community. It's not a business. There's no formalized organization. You don't get a membership card. If you hang around here long enough and you chip in and you help out, you're in.
Oh, I just helped out cleaning parts for, getting them ready to put on restorations and things like that, and helping around the shop. Love to be around airplanes. Just being around the airplanes, doing whatever's necessary on them. I've been, like I say, a pilot before, and I enjoyed being up and flying. Since I can't fly anymore, I just be around them. Gives me great pleasure.
We've had people who can come up and they can look at a cracked, dented wing, and they'll just come up and they'll look at that and just go, okay, I see what I can make that new. And you just look at it and you go, how? I mean, it's all smashed up. And they go away and they come back the next week and you look at it and you just say, who bought the new wing in? And some guy who's got an incredible talent with metalwork has made this piece of wrinkled garbage into a brand new airplane part. Some people wood. Some people we have here absolutely astounding with wood. Curtis, who's one of kind of like the newest additions to the Tiger, was just beautiful, beautiful workmanship that he does with wood. Other people's fabric work, other people engines, brilliant with engines. We got machinists. Sometimes you got a part for an obscure airplane that was made in the 30s and you just go, well, you can't go and get a new part, so we got people who can look at that part and say, I'll make you a new one. And they come back the next week and you'd swear it's just come off the shelf.
To build my airplane, I didn't know how to do a lot of stuff, so I went and took a course in welding and found a certified airplane welder to teach me how to weld. And so I spent some time learning how to weld, and I'm the only guy on the airport right now that does welding. And so I've inherited part of a project here, which is to replace the longerons on a J2 fuselage, which was an airplane built in the 30s prior to the J3 Cub.
I actually started restoring aircraft with Tom and Frank, and I remember Frank very, very strongly saying that it really only takes a little bit more to go first class. And that's what I tried to do with this, because I knew I'd only have one airplane in my life.
It's part of our heritage, and these airplanes were designed with a lot of passion, and they were used to train a whole generation of fellas in the Second World War. And of course there's other groups that restore First World War airplanes that are even older, and they're keeping those flying too. So I think it's a good thing to keep this heritage alive and to teach our young people what some of those people went through in those years.
I love planes. There's something about them that really attracts me to them. I like them so much because I don't know, I feel like a bird.
These are classic, and there's fewer and fewer of them around as time goes on, and there's a lot of less people, or fewer people I should say, flying them and rebuilding them.
We always pick on airplanes that had some kind of a history in the immediate Ontario Golden Triangle area.
Well, my kids were worried about flying in these planes today. And I said, these planes have been flying for 50 or 60 years. They wouldn't be flying after 50 years if they weren't.
Pretty cool, they're really old. It's a piece of history right here.
And here, airplanes that have been discarded, thrown in the junk heap, literally, sometimes buried, sometimes crashed into the woods somewhere. They find them, they bring them back here, and they go from the ground up, and they're completely restored into gorgeous flying antique airplanes.
And as long as there's still small airports like this, then we'll be flying these airplanes. I don't see any end to it at this time. I think that we could go on, 50, 60 years in the future still flying these same airplanes, because they will last. There's no reason that they can't keep flying.
Clear! I wanted to stay with flying airplanes forever. I don't believe in museums that take a perfectly good airplane that's flyable and stick it in a morgue and they never fly again. And they can't buy or sell me on the fact that they say they're so rare they shouldn't fly. If they rebuild them once, if they crack them up, they can rebuild them again, and they should keep flying.